All right, welcome. Today, we're digging into something that on the surface looks like a professional profile, but I think it's way more than that. We're going to look at one person's career path and see if it actually gives us a kind of blueprint for what it means to be a teacher today. His story really reflects the huge changes we're seeing in education all over the world.
And it all kind of boils down to this one big question, right? What makes a teacher truly modern? I mean, is it just about having the latest tech in the classroom? Or is there something deeper going on? A different mindset, maybe? Well, let's try to find some answers by looking at a real world example. So, the career we're going to put under the microscope belongs to Arslan Ahmad Khan. And look, we're not just going to list his jobs. Think of his entire professional journey as a case study. It's a potential answer to that big question, what does it really take to be a successful teacher in today's world? Okay, so first things first. To really get a handle on his teaching philosophy, we've got to look at his journey. And don't think of this as just a list of jobs on a resume. It's more like a roadmap showing some really intentional growth in a field that's changing like crazy. So let's look at the timeline. It really tells a story. He kicks things off back in August 2020, teaching O-levels in physics and math. That's a pretty traditional national curriculum. But then, fast forward just 2 years to 2022, and boom, he's pivoted to an international, fully remote e-teacher role. And by the end of 2023, he specialized in the International Baccalaureate, the IB program, which, if you don't know, is all about a global outlook and getting students to really lead their own learning. You can see a clear pattern here, right? A move toward a more global, modern approach.
But this is what was happening behind the scenes, and this is crucial. While he was making those career moves, he was also constantly learning. I mean, look at the dates here. In 2020 and 2021, right when the entire world was scrambling to figure out online school, he was getting certified in remote and hybrid learning, in Microsoft Teams, in creating collaborative classrooms. He was even focused on student well-being during school reopenings. This isn't someone just reacting to change. This is someone getting ahead of it, super proactive.
So you take that career path and you add all that nonstop training on top of it. What do you get? How did all of that shape his actual teaching philosophy? Let's see how all those pieces fit together when it comes to what he does in the classroom. And you know what? We don't have to guess what his philosophy is. This quote comes directly from a training session that he was leading for other teachers. Listen to these words: interactive learning, student-centered classroom, collaboration, communication, leadership skills. I mean, it's all right there. This is clearly the absolute core of how he operates.
Okay, so how does a philosophy like that actually work in practice? Well, it looks like it's built on 4 main pillars. First, getting students to work together, real collaboration. Second, using interactive activities from the IB learner profile. That's the part that's all about building skills like critical thinking. Third, you've got the strategies for hybrid and remote learning, and it all comes together in that 4th pillar, making sure the classroom is truly, genuinely student-centered.
And this is a huge milestone in any professional's journey. He went from being a practitioner to being a trainer. Think about that. By 2023, he's not just doing the job, he's conducting training sessions for his fellow teachers. That's a massive leap. It shows that his expertise was recognized, you know? When you're trusted to teach your peers, that's a whole new level of mastery.
All right, so a teaching philosophy like this, well, it has to be built on a pretty strong foundation, right? So let's peel back another layer and look at the academic background and the core skills that actually make all of this possible.
Now, his academic background is, well, it's a really interesting combo. You've got a bachelor's in physics, so that's your deep, hard science, analytical brain right there. But then he pairs that with a master's in public administration. That brings in this whole other skill set about understanding systems, management, communication. It's not a combination you see every day in a teacher, and it's a pretty powerful one. And you can see how that unique academic mix feeds right into this really well-rounded skill set. We're talking about more than just knowing your subject inside and out. It's about being able to manage a classroom, communicate effectively, and show leadership. Plus, you've got those essential soft skills like collaboration and being fully fluent in both English and Urdu. In today's global education world, that's a huge advantage.
Okay, so let's pull all these different threads together. What's the big picture that emerges when we look at all of this at once?
So what does the complete picture of this modern educator look like? Well, you've got a specialist in tough subjects like physics and math. You've got an expert in modern teaching methods, IB, hybrid, remote, the whole shebang. You've got a proven leader who trains other teachers. And it's all standing on that unique academic foundation and maybe, most importantly,
a serious commitment to never stop learning. And that brings us right back to where we started. When you put all these pieces together, the intentional career paths, the constant upskilling, the clear philosophy, the solid academic base, you really have to ask yourself, is this just a resume? Or is this something more? Could this actually be a blueprint for what the successful, high-impact teacher of the future looks like? That's the big idea I want to leave you with. Thanks for tuning in.